On a Mayo side who are odds on with the bookies. Commentary comes from Ger Canning.
For today's big rematch, Mayo make 2 changes from their Connacht final lineup. Donald Vaughan comes back into the half-back line to the exclusion of Richie Feeney, and Cillian O'Connor starts after his powerful second-half showing against London. Keith Higgins may play a more forward role. Meanwhile, the reigning All-Ireland champions Donegal have to start this match without Footballer of the Year Carol Lacey. He's injured and Declan Walsh once again steps into his shoes. But better news about Mark McHugh. He's made a rapid recovery and he'll play in the half-forward line. And it's Mayo playing from left to right in the first half. Kevin McLaughlin now. Back at a goal where he got a great goal against Cork a few years ago, and this one's hit over the bar by Cillian O'Connor. What a good attack and what a good score by Mayo. First point of the match then comes inside the opening 60 seconds here. This is out as far as Donald Vaughan. In as far as Alan Dillon. Gave a lot of leadership last year when they reached the All-Ireland final, and he's giving that kind of leadership again here with a wonderful score. 2 attacks, 2 points by Mayo. Aidan O'Shea running into a cordon of Donegal defenders. Back it comes once again, high up into the air this time, not going anywhere in a hurry. Well defended by Eamon McGee, challenged by Cillian O'Connor. Frantic stuff, comes back to Kevin McLaughlin. O'Connor, what a goal, what a start. Cillian O'Connor does it again. This time 5 minutes in, and he rolls it into the back of Paul Jerkin's net. And that's only the 5th goal they've conceded in 17 championship matches, Donegal. But what a dream start here. First it was McLaughlin, stopped initially, and then in as far as Cillian O'Connor, and he rolls it in beautifully. His 5th ever championship goal. 1-2 to no score. Well, James Horan delighted. Jim McGuinness somewhat deflated. Michael Murphy is fouled. It's going to be a free kick for Donegal. Murphy's going to take it himself. Launching it in towards McPrearty, couldn't quite get the fist on it. It bounced and it went over the bar, and it's the first score of the match. It's almost like the goal they got last year, but it's a point this time, and I think Michael Murphy's going to take the credit. It's 1-3 Bradley. Inside towards Michael Murphy, and Murphy holds on to it this time. Turns it back once again, this time to Rory Kavanagh. Played inside swiftly, neat turn, it's McHugh, Mark McHugh, and Mark McHugh splits the posts. Well, how they have needed him. They missed his urgency in the middle of the field in the Ulster final, but he's back and he's scored here, and it's now 1-3 to 2 points.
Against London, so difficult role for him today.
Michael Murphy on his 24th birthday. What a crucial score it could yet turn out to be. Right now, it's all that separates the teams as Keith Higgins is in to win possession back for Mayo. Times his run to take the pass from Dillon. Vaughan is inside. Vaughan gets there. Vaughan! A second Mayo goal. Well, they were scoring goals for fun in this year's Connacht Championship. They've scored 2 here in the first 13 minutes. And Donegal's well-drilled system ripped apart.
He's done that against Galway in the first round of the Connacht Championship. Nobody followed him, nobody chased him, and that's very unlike Donegal. Donegal never let players free into that area in front of goal, and on that occasion it was Ryan McHugh. Ryan McHugh has been marked by Vaughan at this stage, lost him, made a very late run and a fantastic finish.
All of Ryan McHugh, younger brother of Mark. Ryan Bradley getting his head up, everybody tightly marked. Has to go short. McFadden is stopped in his tracks by Aidan O'Shea. Well, Aidan O'Shea, who's already on a yellow, needs to be careful here. Donegal have got a free in, and I think O'Shea maintaining he stood his ground for.
I think so. I think on that occasion Colin McFadden actually slipped when he got the ball. You can see here he's about to turn, loses his footing.
dig deep now into their reserves to reel Mayo back in. Murphy hitting this one off the carpet. Sweet as you like. Place left in this year's semi-finals. Tyrone awaiting the winners. Aidan O'Shea spotted the man on the overlap. Dillon all alone. Takes a look, drives it down towards the Cavan stand and measures it to absolute perfection. 2 points for Alan Dillon. Well, he is the man for all seasons when it comes to Mayo football in his 11th campaign with the county senior football team. Fine score.
Fine score, and credit also to Seamus O'Shea. Won the ball in the middle of the field, took on one of the Donegal defenders, went by him, that created the overlap, gave it to his brother Aidan, again sucked in a Donegal defender, and then Alan had made a run out on the right side, plenty of space, and a very good point.
Neil Gallagher taking possession in front of Seamus O'Shea there, but they were bottled up very quickly. And the ball turned over. Lee Keegan. Continues his run to take the pass from Alan Dillon. Quick look up to spot where Cillian O'Connor is. Tried to touch it down.
Has had two operations, a hip operation early on the season, a knee operation then during the season. Certainly not the player he was last year, so whether he'll add something to this game or not remains to be seen.
Michael Murphy just in the...
Taking long-range scores, and they've done all three.
Well, certainly those two early goals mean that the game is being played on Mayo's terms as McLaughlin knifes his way through and kicks his first point of this quarter-final. It really has been the dream start. Little necklace of passes. McLaughlin has that ability to drift into space, and he is a very assured finisher.
And a hugely important player for Mayo, probably Mayo's best forward over play. And James Horan will be delighted with that return.
And Mayo's 7-point cushion restored as Keith Higgins, who's reveling in that free roll, looks for O'Connor. Outnumbered on this occasion, and the first meaningful touch for Carl Lacey. Here's Ryan Bradley just switching wings to try and find some space. Chris Barrett got there in front of McFadden, and Aidan O'Shea has all the time he needs to carry it towards halfway. Higgins again. Plenty of movement inside. He spots the run of Andy Moran. Double teamed, shoots on sight. What a score! Andy Moran with his first of the match. A year since injuring his cruciate ligament here against Down, has just kicked Mayo into an 8-point lead as we go back down to the sideline to hear from Kieran McSweeney.
Yes, Mike, and just confirmation to that injury we were telling you about earlier on for Ton Caniff. He did seem to be struggling all since the start of this game. Well,
contenders. Donald Vaughan recycled to Kevin McLaughlin. Had to think very quickly there. He's picked out Alan Freeman. Lovely, stylish footballer. And that's an excellent score. Alan Freeman from Ahamore with his second of the match. And it's all coming so easy. The ball in is being delivered just as the inside forwards would like, and they look razor sharp.
But what's really noticeable is Donegal's full back line behind their men all the time. Last year in the All-Ireland final and the whole championship series last year, you rarely saw a Donegal full back, member of the full back line, being behind their men. They were out in front all the time, and Mayo, 5 of Mayo's forwards now have scored from play, and they're moving the ball very, very swiftly from the midfield area into attack, and very composed with their passing.
Certainly their coach Donny Buckley has been working long and hard on the training ground in recent months in anticipation of a matchup with Donegal. Came a little earlier than Mayo would have expected, but tactically they look to have got this so far spot on in months. And he has pulled most of the strings in that Mayo half-forward line. Kevin McLaughlin checking his options, looking for Andy Moran. Might break for Cillian O'Connor. Stopped on the line by a flailing boot out for a 45. It was Mark McHugh, and a point to his credit so far. He's Mayo's leading scorer in the championship with 4 goals and 10 points. This is first 45, and absolutely nothing wrong with that. Hit a few memorable 45s against Dublin here in last year's All-Ireland semi-final into the hill. Drew that in beautifully, and Rory Cavan were too slow to retreat. And this makes the opportunity a lot more straightforward for Cillian O'Connor. Mayo's leading scorer in the match so far, 1 goal and 2 points on his 13th championship appearance. Well, in his very short inter-county career, he has shown he is a man for the big occasion.
Out around the middle of the field, winning ball, but not very effective. And of course, that trio has scored 70% of Donegal's scores this year in the championship. So if you can close them down, close Donegal down.
Here's Cathal Carroll, he's gone right through. Denied by the post. McLaughlin following up, and he sliced it wide. Well, Cathal Carroll with a slaloming run that took him right through the heart of the Donegal defence, just like he did against Galway back in May. An audacious attempt, but how did he get through the best defence in Ireland?
Well, he was right to take the shot on the ground, but Kevin McLaughlin, I think, panicked a little bit. He had much more time when the rebound came out. Could have gone down on it, just threw a left foot at it, and that was a massive, massive opportunity for Mayo to kick their 3rd goal and put this game well outside or beyond the reach of Donegal.
Another systems failure in the Donegal defence, and once more Mayo win possession from the Donegal kick-out. It was Alan Dillon that got in to win that dirty ball. Here's Colm Boyle, the dynamo from Davits, cutting through. Boyle off his left. An inspirational score. A first of the match for the pocket rocket Colm Boyle. 12 clear points between the teams. The All-Ireland champion
Very effectively. And here's another stat for you, Mike, as well. When you talk about stats, London actually have scored more than Donegal and conceded less than Mayo in the first half of the Connacht final. Can you believe that one?
Well, this day has certainly not panned out the way anybody would have expected. Certainly not Donegal. That free, by the way, has been missed by Kevin McLaughlin. Perhaps a little casual, and it remains a 12-point lead for Mayo. Aidan O'Shea bossing the midfield. Here's Donal Vaughan attacking at every opportunity, the Mayo number 6. Mayo's composure on the ball, very impressive in this game. O'Shea again involved, and once more it's the elusive Alan Dillon who pops up in space. Donegal just struggling to close Mayo down. Here's Seamus O'Shea, fancies a piece of it. A huge kick from Seamus O'Shea. That's his first of the match. 8 different Mayo players have now scored, and they're attacking from everywhere and anywhere.
Well, again, winning the ball in midfield, stretching the Donegal defence by putting it out to the wing to Alan Dillon on that occasion, then bringing it back into the middle, and Seamus O'Shea taking on, running at the Donegal defence successfully and kicking a fantastic score. And Mayo have done that so many times in the first half. They recognise that Donegal generally, or last year, were very solid up the centre of the defence, and they've tried to...
His job, wins the ball, wins the free, and away go Mayo. They're keeping the game moving. As Paul said, trying to stretch it out. Higgins clipping it in towards O'Connor. Deflected down to Vaughan. They have 2 over. O'Connor! Goal number 3. Donegal's defence ripped apart yet again. And Mayo disappearing into the distance.
And nobody again picking up Donal Vaughan. He's had the freedom of Croke Park all day. He's been running forward, nobody defending him. Scored a goal, set up that goal for Cillian O'Connor, an easy tap in. And again, Donegal in their previous attack, they had 3 or 4 chances to kick the point. They were trying to manufacture a goal. When it didn't happen, Mayo have punished them. And his fatigue, maybe the lack of strength in depth and the injuries that they have, but go back to the basics. They should certainly get the basics right.
And that kick-out statistic just underlining Mayo's total dominance around the middle of the field in particular. Keith Higgins still full of running. Here's Chris Barrett, quick look up, spots Andy Moran, just needed a second bite. Andy Moran low, good save by Durcan O'Connor. It's another hat-trick for Cillian O'Connor, his second of the summer. And it doesn't get much better than this for Mayo. They are running riot.
Unbelievable. And again, Andy going for his goal. Good save by Paul Durcan, but Cillian O'Connor, as so often, he's in the right position. 2 hat-tricks in a row. He'll certainly be looking for the match ball at the end of this one. 3-4 for Cillian O'Connor. Played a half in the Connacht final, scored 3-3.
Mayo are men on a mission. O'Shea, Dillon. Lee Keegan outside, calling for it. Men inside, queuing up. Carolan, though, has Mayo just wanted it more, and Kevin McLaughlin gets it away to Carolan. Richie Feeney, who's into the match for Alan Dillon, just caught on his heels there. And Donegal will try and build something through Frank McGlynn. The All-Ireland champions playing for pride, even at this early stage. David Walsh from Niamh Breed in Ballantrae hits the target. It's their first score in this second half. And he did what he had to do.
Yeah, and it was a good score. I think Donegal, anytime they go forward, they should just take whatever opportunities are there, not to try and manufacture goal chances. The game has gone from this stage. It's just get a bit of pride back, get some scores, decent scoreline on the board.
That score from David Walsh breaks a run of 2-9 without reply from Mayo, by the way. Players backpedaling, but not with the verve of old, as O'Shea flicks this on to Richie Feeney, and Feeney slots it calmly over the bar. First score for the Mayo substitute. Target practice. The gap back to 20 points again. It almost beggars belief.
And again, Richie Feeney is a very important player for Mayo and always contributes a point or a couple of points in a game, and has that capacity. He can play defensive in defence, he can play in attack.
Chris Barrett, one man inside. Barrett drives it himself high and over the bar. He becomes Mayo's 11th different scorer. And if this was a boxing match, you'd have to think long and hard about throwing the towel in, Paul, because Donegal are out on their feet.
Absolutely. I think what's really impressive with Mayo.
Well, this is what happened just a moment ago here. There seemed to be some stamping there. And if the referee has seen it, the guilty player, who I think is Eamon McGee, could be in serious trouble. So red card, and Eamon McGee for stamping gets sent off. It goes from bad to worse. Just poor performances everywhere. Indiscipline here now, and a team that simply hasn't functioned during this quarter-final. Murphy goes and has the ball taken from him, and then he collides with Marty Boyle. It'll be Michael Murphy once again, going short. Colin McFadden, strikes the back of the net. There is some minor, little bit of consolation for Colin McFadden. A goal in the 70th minute. And there is another yellow card for Aidan O'Shea. And Aidan O'Shea has been sent off. Watch this again here. A rash challenge. Stepped into it there, looked tired and clumsy. Collided with David Walsh, got the second yellow, off he goes, and it's 14 against 14. And the referee looks at his watch. He's played 1 minute of stoppage time, and the game is up. And Donegal, the All-Ireland champions from 2012, lose their crown, and they lose it to a magnificent Mayo side. And the final score here is Mayo 4-17, Donegal 1 goal and 10.
You know, a lot of things you'd be working on in training and hoping for it to come through a big game day. It did for us today. You know, our skill execution was good, our running, support running, and timing and handling, and all that kind of stuff was good, and we got through for a couple of couple of early goals, and that gave us a bit of extra confidence surge, and we took it on from there. And you know, we had a lot of guys all over the field that were really hungry today and showed it out there. So we're delighted with the win and looking forward to the next game.
It was a big game for both teams getting into it, and I suppose the stakes were high in terms of trying to move to the last four of the competition, but unfortunately for ourselves today we didn't, I suppose, show what we are capable of, and the performance level that's normally there wasn't there, and that was, I suppose, the most disappointing thing, Ger. But to be honest with you, we have to take our hat off to Mayo. They came here with a real hunger, a real desire to get over the line, and obviously they're carrying the hurt of losing the final last year forward with them, and I suppose they'll take a lot of beating from here on in.
All right, great. It was a day for Mayo. And Kevin McStay, you've seen more Mayo performances than anyone else in the room here. Where would you rank that one today?
Well, in terms of championship performance, I've never seen a Mayo team and the subs play as well for the sustained period of the game. They were just relentless. It was a very, very high standard. James Horn mentioned a lot of the skill levels being at a very high level, but being executed at that high level. Everything went for them. They got the great start and so on. But look, in terms of the performance, you hate to say it flawless because there's always something small to work on. But I didn't see much to work on other than Mayo have been particularly good at beating All-Ireland champions the last 3 years, but not winning the Sam Maguire. So they're going to have to get 2 more of those performances to win it out. But on today, the business conducted today was outstanding.
And Desi, once again we saw how difficult it is for all Ireland champions to come back and maintain those levels.
Yeah, I think Donegal, they just didn't have a good year this year in terms of injuries. Like Carl Lacey was a huge player for them, and Neil Gallagher was out, and then Mark McHugh. And they're the type of players that were the main men last year and all playing extremely well. And the thing with Mayo, this game was coming and it came at the right time. They'd been playing particularly well in Connacht. The form was really good. Fantastic players, all at the top of the game, and it was just the right time for Mayo to get Donegal.
Right, okay. Well, one of the things that stood out was the intensity from the Mayo fellas today. It was extraordinary. Not unlike Donegal last year, Kevin.
Yeah, I suppose...
This is last year now.
Yeah, it's been well flagged, you know, that tackling has been elevated to, I suppose, an art form by a lot of the successful teams. This is Donegal showing that they mean business in last year's final. And of course, Dublin, the year previously in 2011, set their stall out with incredibly high intensity. This is a Donegal at their absolute best, showing that massive hunger. But
this is Mayo now today.
You can flip the coin to 2013, and Mayo are ravenous for the ball. I thought this was probably the best bit of tackling in it. Cillian O'Connor robs it. Kevin McLaughlin plays a fantastic little ball inside after a lovely shimmy, and the coolest of finishes. But all this ball is coming from really strong pressure being put on the ball. And again, once it breaks, they're in like speed merchants after the ball, all transferring it generally on their first touch, sometimes with no touch, just moving it, and then Donald Vaughan gambling on going in the back door and gets the handy one, and that's game over at that stage.
Okay, Desi mentioned there of Donald Vaughan, part of a half back line that was extraordinary.
It's a powerful half back line, probably one of the best in the country, and they really played particularly well today. They scored 1-2 from the half back line and set up with Donald Vaughan, a great counter attack and up the pitch, and he got one of these against Galway as well. And he was brave here. Paul Durkin came out, probably shouldn't have came out, and took the goal well. Handy tap in again. Then you're going on to Lee Keegan, up the pitch, gives it to Colin Boyle. And Colin had a particularly good game against Roscommon. He's a right footer, takes this on his left foot, and that shows you the skill level that these players have. And again, you're seeing Lee Keegan bursting up the pitch in the next one. Fantastic play for these guys, giving it off again. And the thing is to keep on going. And it's a missed opportunity here, but it just shows you that the half-back line, and this is the thing with the modern game, your half-back line have to be attacking to make opportunities. And the final one, it's a point for Lee Keegan. But this is what they're doing at all the games throughout the year, and they're very potent. And you've seen it last year with Donegal. They had Carl Lacey, Frank McGlynn doing a lot of damage. And Thompson as well. And that's the game that's played. You need half-backs attacking.
I think it played into their hands to a certain degree with Ryan McHugh and Mark McHugh dropping back. It gave them the freedom of park to
come forward.
And they gambled a few times on space. They drove into it, But
Kieran, as a big midfielder, you took pleasure out of Aidan O'Shea's performance.
Yeah, you can only sit back and admire what I would describe as probably the most complete performance by a midfielder. I thought he was absolutely awesome today. This guy is still only 24 years of age, 23, 4 years of age, and his power, his strength, able to break the tackle, his work rate, his composure off both feet, his high fielding ability. It was from start to finish, it was a top draw performance. Yes, he picked up a second yellow card, which he'd be a little bit disappointed with, but he was the man in the engine room today, and from, as I said, from the first minute to the 70th minute, he gave a master class performance. There he is, plucking one out of the skies, back in his full back line, you know, makes a mistake, and here he comes back in to block the ball down. Just fantastic. Now, from a Tyrone perspective, and I've been there myself, he's going to be targeted. They're going to see him try and get him to lose his discipline. He's going to have to be very composed. He's going to have to know that Tyrone will target him in the middle of the pitch. Great performance today, and he is very, very important to Mayo going forward.
His fitness levels are outstanding. Like, he has made the jump he has made in the last 2-3 years in terms of physical conditioning. Each season on season has been outstanding.
They all seem to have made it, in fairness. Donegal owe their fans nothing finally, Kieran, do they?
Yeah, I mean, Des, they've been great champions. In fairness, we sat back here last year and we admired them in terms of how they set out their stall. Yes, it was getting men behind the ball, but they were very effective in how they done it. But we did say in the very first programme this year that it would come down to appetite, the hunger, the desire to succeed, and the writing was on the wall in terms of they just looked flat out. They suffered with injuries, and it's very, very difficult to retain an All-Ireland in the modern day.
Well, if we saw how the Donegal fans celebrated, you can imagine Mayo if they go on to win in All-Ireland. They're favourites now, by the way. Well, today's opening match in Croke Park revived memories of the only All-Ireland final to be played outside the country when Cavan beat Kerry in New York back in 1947. Well, a huge Cavan crowd travelled to Croke Park today, hoping that could be repeated. Commentary from Marty Morrissey.
Up Cavan! Up Cavan!
Rory, we might be able to save here. A bit if you want.
The Munster champions from Kerry look quite familiar.
It's
with
Kieran,
Marco
Kevin
Shea
and
full
Desi
back
in
and
sequence
Fitzgerald
here.
now
We
wearing
can
the
go
number 2
Kieran
jersey.
first.
Callum Cooper's selection at centre forward has
could
brought
lead
a
into
whole new
Kerry's setup.
dimension to the Kingdom attack. But there is a late change at midfield. David Moran replaces the injured Anthony Marr. During the qualifiers, Alan O'Mara has re-established himself as first-choice goalkeeper for Cavan, while the Blues manager Terry Hyland welcomes back Jason McLaughlin to the starting 15. Damien O'Reilly and David Givney are a formidable force in the middle of the field, while Cavan have one late change in the forwards. Dara McVitie replaces the injured Jack Brady. Returning to the starting 15 for Cavan after injury. Well won back by Martin Riley. Good ball inside for Martin Dunn. Given a little bit of space. It's the first score in this All-Ireland quarter-final between Cavan and Kerry. Well worked as well. Paul Galvin flicks it forward. Waiting for it was Tomás O'Shea, but Donegal Walsh drops it in towards big Kieran Donaghy, and it's picked up by Damien O'Reilly. Let's watch it again. There was Kieran Donaghy fouled. He was looking for the penalty. Declan O'Sullivan slipping one for as Paul Galvin, flicking it over for as Donegal Walsh, just to the left of the post, and finding the target. Ball coming back for us, Callum Cooper. Darren O'Sullivan wanted it short. Jason McLaughlin in hot pursuit, but wonderful skill by O'Sullivan, and it's blocked away by Rory Dunn. Tomás O'Shea.
First effort from Buckley and a first score for second chance so for Buckley. The right, he's floated this, he looks happy, and indeed he should be. That is a super score.
That's a lovely score. That's a lovely score by Buckley as well. Certainly his confidence from frees, and he's shown it there.
I think that they also have the likes of Brian Sheehan, Dr. Croke's midfielder. He's been so prominent for them in the club championship. It's a third effort, and that is just superb from Buckley. And then effort with the left. Not a bother at all to Colin Cooper. O'Sullivan flick on, trying to get Declan O'Sullivan or Kieran Donaghy. And this should work out for Damien O'Reilly. VT again. Working so hard. Back across to his clubmate Buckley. Buckley breaks a couple of tackles, still goes strong. And in the end runs into Cavan captain Alan Clark.
It's a couple of great times.
Pass inside to Donegal Walsh, and Donegal Walsh, that's a lovely score from Donegal Walsh, a man who said in the Irish Examiner yesterday that he wasn't a scorer. He's had two today.
Yeah, and what made that is Colin Cooper. He was involved twice in that move, and two short little passes inside. What vision, you know, his vision and intuition, his understanding of space, his awareness of players around him, and that's what makes him such a crucial player for this Kerry team.
Well, as we were watching that unfold, a quick kick out from Alan O'Mara. Kerry won it, got it to Declan. They can't get the ball into that space. No good having the space. Donaghy turning Dunn, retains the ball, and in the end tried to pick out O'Sullivan. Alan Clark helping him out, but great work by Galvin. Here is Donaghy now again. One look up with the right. That's a lovely score from Donaghy. Plenty of questions about the
Martin Riley, Martin Dunn, and Eugene Keating. If they get space, they will score. So their system is all about shifting players back. Kerry are probing then as well. It's man off the shoulder.
Unfortunate there, to be fair. Only score by Martin Dunn after 3 minutes. It was a beautiful score at that from play with his left. We just haven't seen enough from them since then. Ronan Flanagan now, a bit of space in front of him towards Givney. Givney with the right over the bar, and the Cavan fans on the hill finally have their flags in the air.
Yeah, that's a great score there. Well worked as well. He kept possession, and Keane Mackey was central to that again. Took the ball under his arm, laid it inside the McLaughlin, and then Givney with the final score. That's what they need. And certainly brought that form the Cavan's championship season and the Ulster championship and in the qualifiers.
He's only around 23 years of age. As we're looking at Cullen Cork. They showed super football for about 40 minutes against Cork that day. Let Cork back into it. And we saw in that first half just how brilliantly they can play when they're allowed play. And indeed, and the third score for Cavan, a first for McDermott.
Dara McVitie. Fergal Flanagan. Flicking it inside for his Keane Mackey. Much better Cavan. Mackey at the end of it. Slipping one into the centre for his Niall McDermott. It's a score that Cavan richly deserve. Was this the same Cavan team that were sound asleep in the opening 35 minutes? Ball for Declan O'Sullivan to chase. Is well held. Comes fires Darren O'Sullivan. Backfires Declan. Coming through is David Moran. And that is powerfully sent over the crossbar. Good score. Colin Cooper. Such wonderful vision. Spotted Peter Crowley making the run. And it's still Crowley laying it off quickly. There's a chance here for Paul Geaney. In comes Donegal Walsh, and he chips it over the bar. Good play by Kerry. Damien O'Reilly back again for his Clark. Niall McDermott. There's Alan Clark. Keane Mackey. Kerry well behind the ball. Here comes the shot, and it's over the bar. Good play, Cavan. Patient. And who better to provide the leadership than this man called Keane Mackey. Tomas O'Shea. Down the middle. There's Kieran O'Leary. Colm Cooper. Declan O'Sullivan. Rory Dunn is on a yellow card, but that challenge didn't merit the referee going for his back pocket. Colm Cooper thought about going right, went left. And here comes the coach. What will he do? Take his point. It's his 6th point of the All-Ireland quarter-final. And he does it with ease and so much style. Kerry very much in control. I think that they will sense that they have a lot more to do before they face Dublin in the All-Ireland football semi-final on the 1st of September. Full-time score in Croke Park in this All-Ireland quarter-final. Kerry 15 points, Cavan 9.
We're delighted we're in an All-Ireland semi-final in 4 weeks' time, but we've a lot to improve on between now and then. Particularly our second half performance was very disappointing, but we're still in an All-Ireland semi-final, we're still in the race. We're going to go back down to Killarney, we're going to work on it, and we're going to try and address the issues particularly that manifested themselves in the second half.
You must go away, though, encouraged by that second half performance. These lads must surely believe they could actually put it up to Kerry.
Well, again, we have to change the mindset of Cavan people and Cavan players. That we have the ability, and we probably always had the ability, and as you say, it's probably a belief factor. And we did believe in the second half, and we did drive on, but we just have to start putting that into 70 minutes of football.
Yeah. All right then, so Kerry march on, but Kieran, it wasn't one of their classic games, was it?
No, it wasn't. I suppose Cavan probably came up lacking a bit of self-belief, and that's natural. First time in an All-Ireland quarter-final up against the powers of Kerry. Kerry weren't great, sloppy, 7 points from play, didn't play particularly well. What was most intriguing was how they set up their team today. We looked at Cork last week, who played very defensive against Galway. I was down the Munster final and I saw Kerry play blistering football in the first half, working the ball to the half forwards, popping it into the inside line, very difficult to defend against. But today they set out their style very, very differently and got 12, 13 men behind the ball on numerous occasions. And listen, I suppose the purists in Kerry won't be happy tonight in terms of how they set up, and it just seems strange whether they were trying to implement this system for further challenges down the line, whether they were trying it, but it's just not Kerry's style of play. You see 12, 13 men behind the ball. Now Cavan still got through, worked to score to get a free off this, but you know, as a famous Kerry man once said many years ago, you know, he described it as puke football, you know, and I don't think they'd be happy down there tonight. And it's just trying to understand the logic, because again, are they concerned about their defence? Are they concerned their defence is going to be exposed if they go one-on-one? Because you would think Kerry's strengths going into the last 4 is based around their forward line and the likes of Cooper to pick a pass. Here, this third piece, there's actually 15 Kerry men in their own half. Wow. I don't think we've ever seen that before. So that was the more puzzling thing, how Kerry set up, what reasons were behind it, were they trying something, hard to work out, but overall it was a sloppy enough performance and probably keeps things low-key for them coming into a semi-final.
But interestingly, Kevin, given that there were so many people in defence from Kerry, you had a problem with their tackling.
Yeah, in the second half, the game was over at half-time, you know, I think we were agreed on that. So the second half was about fine-tuning things for the semi-final. Cavan scored 7 times in the second half. 5 of them were from frees. And it's poor tackling, it's indisciplined for the most part, it's lazy. And despite the piece that Kieran has just shown us, with all the players back, it sometimes happens that when there's a lot of players around and they're all relaxing because there's a lot of players around, they just get indisciplined about their tackling. And this is what we're showing. Indeed, at the very end, Keane Mackey got yet another free, so it would have been 6 from 8 if he hadn't gone for the goal. Now, I suggest that giving away that amount of frees in one half is just totally indisciplined and would be unacceptable to the coaching staff down in Kerry. So that is work to do, and certainly in the context of them coming to play Dublin, who have a left and right-footed free taker, they really have to tidy that up.
Okay, one thing that stood out today, we saw a couple of the Cavan full forward line being substituted, Kieran Donny. And you picked out the whole weekend. Yeah. This is not a time to be a full forward,
yeah,
Desi.
It's not a good time. In fairness, corner forwards, full forwards are getting a hard time.
Endangered species.
The modern game is dictating that there's defenders coming back, and generally they're left free, and their wing forwards coming back. And in the game, you have Kieran Donny came off, Darren O'Sullivan, You had Martin Dunn and Eugene Keaton from Cavan, Darren McCurry, Stephen O'Neill from Tyrone, Paul Mannion and Brian Cullen from Dublin. And all of these are quality footballers, but the problem is pure frustration. There's men all over you when you're getting the ball. I'm thinking as well the likes of Bernard Brogan. As soon as he's getting the ball, he's getting swamped around by players coming back, and he's struggling. And in the 3 games previous to last night's game, he was struggling as well to find his form. And the thing is, if you look at the best player in the country, in my opinion, the best corner forward in the country, and that's Colm Cooper. And the thing with Colm Cooper now is they're bringing him out the pitch, they're making him get on the ball more and kicking scores. And in my opinion, that's the way it's going. If you want your players to start scoring, you need to get them out the pitch and get them on the ball a bit more. But it's very frustrating because a lot of the work that you're doing as a forward is chasing kickouts all over the pitch.
All right, well, there's confirmation of all the forwards who saw the line. Brian Cullen obviously plays a bit deeper than the others, but it is not a time to be. So next year you'll be what, a half back?
You'll be retired.
Rampaging half back.
Rampaging. All right then. Still to come, all of the drama.